Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to today's English lesson and, drumroll, the last English lesson of Lockdown Mark 3. You've made it to the end. It's the last one. The next English lesson you have, you'll be sat in your classroom. Okay, well done for all your hard work. Got one more to go, and then it's digital detox day. I want you away from the screen, and I want you doing something nice. Okay, let's go on with the lesson. Today, Year 4, we're going to have a look at constructing a paragraph. Now, this isn't something new. This is something that we looked at back in January when we were looking at Flotsam. Okay, so we're going to be constructing a paragraph today using that chapter that we looked at. We've looked at already this week about ditching plastic straws. Okay, so I want you to think back to the analysis that you did for that last chapter in the lesson, and how many of those forest features did you identify? Was all of them? Did you find something that could fill all of those boxes? Because when I was selecting those chapters, I didn't intentionally pick one for, oh, that's perfect, that one. Okay, I chose one which had enough detail in for you to read through. But ultimately, okay, this book isn't a strong persuasive text. It makes suggestions about how we can ditch plastic and look after the environment better, but it's not a passionate, persuasive text. It's not demanding that people change. It's making suggestions. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take it up a level. We're going to make it as persuasive as we can, okay, using some of the ideas from the book. And so this is the last straw. Next week, to finish off our sort of work around this, what you're going to do is select a chapter or two to get some information from. And then what you're going to do is you're going to write a persuasive letter to our Member of Parliament, okay, in the High Peak, and challenge him as to whether, as the High Peak, as a local area, we are doing enough to combat plastic pollution. Okay, so I want you to think back to what we did yesterday and think, could we add to this chapter that we looked at? Okay, is there any way we could make it better? Well, most of you identified that there's not really any rhetorical questions. Okay, some people came up with some ideas that could potentially, but they weren't sort of really specific rhetorical questions. Okay, the other one that we didn't have was a power of three. Okay, where power of three adverbs or adjectives were being used to really hit home emphasis. Okay, that wasn't in that chapter. And also there wasn't much exaggeration. Well, I definitely thought that it could have been exaggerated more and played up more to the emotive language. Okay, so those are three things that I'm going to think, right, yeah, we're going to get those in today. Okay, when we sort of do our own paragraph, we're going to try and get those three things in. And I want you to think back to this method that we looked at, like I said, back in January, when we looked at writing a paragraph. And we think about the Berger method. In a paragraph, we have what we call a topic sentence, and this is when we're doing non-fiction writing Year 4. Remember what we said about non-fiction, it's real life, okay, things like letters, reports, discussions, persuasions. This is all real life, okay? If we're writing a paragraph in a story or in a fiction story, we wouldn't call them topic sentences, detailed sentences, conclusion sentences, okay? The topic sentence tells you what the paragraph is about. And then the detailed sentences, notice that's plural, it's not one, it can be more than one, go into more detail. The conclusion sentence, okay, rounds off the paragraph, but in a persuasive text like the one we're going to write, it makes the reader think. Now, think back to a forest and what we've looked at. What do you think would be a really great way, a really, really great way of closing a paragraph? And I think I said this during the lesson. Rhetorical questions. Okay, so I'm going to think about how we can adapt that Berger paragraph for our persuasive writing. In our topic sentence, what is the main message we want to send out? Okay, from that paragraph, could we use some alliteration in there, you know, just to kick off the paragraph to get it sounding good? Our detailed sentences, supporting sentences, remember, can be more than one. We could use statistics, some information to back up our idea, some opinions, some strong opinions, some emotional opinions, and some power of three to really help it hit home. And then, like I said at the end, I think it's great to close on a rhetorical question. Now, if you go back to the lesson that we had on Tuesday, I think, we had 5 great rhetorical question starters. Okay, so you could be using those along with some emotive language, really put the emphasis back to that reader. Are they doing enough? Okay, so those are just some suggestions here. I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but that's a structure if you want to use that. Here's one that I wrote. See if you can pick out the different elements. Sinister straws have been damaging our oceans for far too long. Plastic straws that harm wildlife and devastate habitats. Incredibly, shockingly, frightfully, 90% of the world's seabirds have plastic in their guts, also that we can have soft drinks in ours. Isn't it time that we put a stop to this? Isn't it time that you ditch the sinister straw altogether? Okay, so not terribly long. Okay, I'll say what I've probably not done is used some fanboys to extend my sentences out. Okay, but what I have got in there are a lot of my aphorist techniques. Okay, so you may have picked up on the fact that I've got my sinister straws, so I've got my alliteration. Okay, and the fact that I repeat sinister straws twice, so I've got my repetition as well. Plastic straws that harm wildlife and devastate habitats. So we've got some emotive language in there. Devastate, harm, damage. Okay, I'm keeping that negative tone to it. Next, what have I got here? Incredibly, shockingly, frightfully. Got my power of 3 adjectives. Power of 3 adverbs. My fronted adverbial openers there. Okay, I'm sort of ticking off plenty of boxes, aren't I? Okay, and I've carefully chosen those. Okay, I nearly went with upsettingly and thought, it's not strong enough. So I went for frightfully. And what I wanted to do, because I played around with the order of those when I was writing it, and I moved incredibly to start because I thought, boom, that's powerful, but frightfully at the end. I thought that was a nice order to it. 90% of the world's seabirds have plastic in their guts. Okay, that's a statistic taken from the chapter. Okay, so, yep, I've cherry-picked something from the chapter. That's fine. We're getting our information from there. Also that we can have soft drinks in ours. Now, I quite like that idea that we put that statistic back onto our audience, say, this is because of you. Not some person on the other side of the world. This is because of you. Because everyone's used plastic straws at some point. And then, as a conclusion to my paragraph, as an end to my paragraph, I've not got 1, I've got 2 rhetorical questions. And I've got my repetition because of that. Isn't it time? Isn't it time? Isn't it time that we put a stop to this? Isn't it time that you ditch the sinister straw altogether? So I'm appealing to a wide audience and I'm appealing to the audience. Okay? Lots of features in there. I'm thinking through. I've got my alliteration? Yes. Have I got my facts? Yes. Have I got my opinions? Well, I have, because I'm talking about it saying it's damaging our habitats. It's devastating habitats, damaging our oceans. Okay, so I am getting my opinion across there that this is something bad. Have I got my repetition and rhetorical questions? Yes. Have I got my emotive language and exaggeration? Well, I've definitely got my emotive language. Exaggeration, frightfully, I could say is my exaggeration there. But the statistic is true. Okay, so I wouldn't say that's exaggeration. S, obviously, I've got my statistics, and power of 3, yes, I've got those in. So I'm ticking most of the boxes there. So I'm happy with that. Okay, and like I said, I didn't write it once. I went back and I edited it because I thought, oh, actually, I can change that. I can replace that there. And that's something we should all be doing. Don't be happy with the first thing you write. Go back through and edit. Okay, so that's your task for today, Year 4, is to write a paragraph of your own using the information from, say, This Is the Last Straw. I've left some pictures underneath on the webpage for you to have a look at, so you can see the chapter again if you need to. Try to include as many of the aphorist features as you can. Okay, you can go back to the text, go back to that paragraph that I've pictured on the webpage, use some information from that. That's not a problem. Some phrases, vocabulary, that's fine. Don't copy the whole paragraph. Okay, just use some phrases and vocabulary. You're only writing one paragraph. You're not writing the whole chapter. Okay, So, because what I want you to focus on is the structure of your paragraph. Have you started off your paragraph saying, what it is that we need to do? Have you then gone into more detail and got your facts? Okay. Have you then closed on perhaps a rhetorical question? Okay. Your challenge to extend it, like it says at the bottom there, is to use some power of 3 vocabulary and at least one fronted adverbial in your paragraph. Okay, year 4, great effort, especially in English with all your home learning. Some of the writing I've seen is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and I can't wait to see you all again next week. Okay, have a great day. Have a good digital detox. I hope this is the last time you're going to look at the screen now. I want you to turn it off. Don't go watch TV or something. Okay, go and spend some time, do some art, do some craft, do some baking, do some drawing. Go and play. Go outside. I hope it's not too bad a day. Okay, year 4. Have a great day. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.